Hi. Okay, this is the second part of Chapter 7. I am Matt Rouge, J.B. Symons here. This is probably the most visually complicated thing in the book, so I'd like you to bear with us. It's important. We actually had a professional artist to draw this, and she did a really good job with how complex this is. But this graphic can be downloaded for free at gettingtowhy.com. It's on the same page as the free downloadable workbook. So take a look at that if you'd like to follow along, print it out. We're not going to put this up on the screen. It's a little bit hard to see unless it's blown up to about a page size. But JB is now going to take you through the cycle of wellness and how it works. It's probably the most complicated thing in the book, so just bear with us.
When I first put this together, it didn't look quite as complicated as this. This looks like something just threw a bunch of worms on the page here. But as I said earlier in the previous video, there are two components to this. There's the unwell side and the wellness side
of the river.
And the river between us is where you can get trapped staying on one side or the other. But the bridges across that river are communication, cooperation, understanding, and trust. Okay, now let me spend just a little bit of time on those four things, because trust does not exist without the other three. Okay, it's a three-legged stool, so that if you don't have trust, if you don't have communication, then trust gets damaged. Cooperation, trust is damaged. Understanding, trust is damaged. And I know situations where none of that's there, so trust is not. So when someone says, trust me, the assumption is that communication, cooperation, understanding are in place or intact, so I can offer trust. Now, I know people, including myself, that tend to trust people until they teach me not to. Okay, but in order to affirm or reaffirm that I can trust that person, I start seeking those elements, looking for strengthen those support legs of communication, cooperation, understanding. That's important to know because those get us on the bridge across from unwellness to wellness. And that area, it's the river of change, okay? We'll give it a name. It's part of the insecurity. So here comes change, and change always leads to the insecure or the grief side, okay? At that point, I'm going to feel a little insecure. Now, earlier in a previous video, I talked an example of a groom seeing his bride for the first time coming down the aisle, and
which is a good thing.
Well, yes, it is, and it's a moment of grief. But part of that grief is couched in insecurity
because it's change.
It is change, and you're going to feel it. At that point, you've got the best man and a whole bunch of other folks there that are going to help you, including your bride.
They're going to make you get married.
I'll let that pass. My mind went way somewhere else for a moment there. You get on the bridge, and it's easier to zoom across the bridge into the side of wellness. And so physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, you feel better. You're well, you're okay. Now,
because you had a moment of insecurity and
you're into the
trust
cycle of
helps you get back over.
You immediately bang into the cycle of change.
Right.
You feel good.
Okay.
Reinforces the belief system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're faithful to that.
Mm-hmm. Your
attitude is, wow, this is really cool. My behavior's there, get good results. So I'm just incorporating what's on the wellness side because you've got these other elements that are there.
Right.
That's why it looks so complicated. Okay. Now, each of these 7 areas has the potentiality of creating these insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So, bang, insecurity hits, the change hits, insecurity happens, we miss the bridge. Mm-hmm. We don't have support there, our attitude our belief system is all crappy at that point. Mm. And so we slip deeper into the unwell side. Mm-hmm. What happens, the next stage in that unwell side is fear. Mm-hmm. And there's all kinds of fear. If you look up fear, you'll see terror, you'll see horror, you see dread. There's 6 or 8 different kinds of fear. Mm-hmm. And that it begins to manifest itself back in here again. How do I
Right.
feel about this? Sometimes you become immobilized, or you take action, and sometimes that action is positive or not so good, depending on how you attack it. But here's a chance for people to say, Matt's going to be okay. Let's talk about it. Tell me how you feel about it. Back to the diagnostic process.
Right.
And what do you believe is going to happen? I'm trying to help Matt get on that bridge. By the way, when you go deeper into the unwell side, that bridge gets a little more narrow.
It's harder to get back across.
It's not as wide as it is when you first attack it and go to from insecurity.
Right.
So boom. So now I'm hopefully moving you across the bridge, across that void of change. Communication. I'm cooperating, helping you understand what's going on, or to the wellness side. If not, we slip deeper into the cycle of unwellness. At that point, you begin to have anger, sadness, and then your behavior begins to be a little bit different as well.
Right.
Also, the people that were there for you the first time begin to deteriorate and move to someone else because, I've been trying to help this guy for years or for weeks or months or whatever it may be, and he just will not accept help, will not be well, and
he's not as fun to be around anymore.
No. That just reminded me of a good country song, is that you ain't much fun since I quit drinking. So that's a quick aside. Now we're into anger. Now,
right.
At that point, someone might say, I hate this place. That's not a behavior. Okay, that's an attitude.
Right.
It's also part of the belief system. Why do you hate this place? Again, you start the diagnostic process. What caused you to think that you hate this place? And we've all said it, we've all done it. I hate going through tests. I hate doing this, that, and chicken fat. So that's still not a behavior. At this point, the bridge is even narrower for multiple reasons, because you've got yourself stuck in this one side, and your belief system is just really manifesting some really negative things.
Right.
And the people that were there to help you, friends, neighbors, well-intentioned buddies, begin to migrate away from you. And another word is abandon you. Okay, so it might be a good time to go to a counselor or a therapist or a doctor or something like that
Right.
to help deal with some of those issues. If you don't get on the bridge there, now you're going deeper into that cycle, and now your behavior does change. So not only are you angry, but you now have irrational behavior. Here's where someone in a business might pull the fire alarm, or might have a bomb threat, or might try to hurt someone. I mean, it gets really, the behavior is irrational. It might be self-destructive in some way, shape, or form. Now, as you look at that diagram, you notice it goes right back up to the beginning.
Right.
Initially, the insecurity happened because of an external event.
Right.
And that started us down through. Get across, be well, it's going to be okay. Once I get all the way around to rational behavior, I'm going to get change because of an internal impact of what my behavior has been.
Right.
So it's not external anymore. Change is happening because I am stuck in this cycle. So
it becomes a negative, vicious cycle.
I call it a death spiral.
Death spiral. That
Goes,
sounds
because
scary.
you're going to go round and round, because you're going to go through it again. You get back to insecurity. There will be different people there this time, because you may have people who agree with you. Because I've been in businesses where a person gets trapped in that, and a person that they would never associate with 6 months before are now good friends with, because they think and feel the same way.
You kind of resonate with that person.
Oh yeah, and the old friends, okay, which you also were part of, have abandoned you, and so now you recycled yourself into a whole new group of friends who also have irrational behavior. Now you're going to change whether you want it or not. Now, in some situations, you're going to get fired. In another situation, you might get a divorce. So there's going to be some awful things happen there.
Right.
When that occurs, though, you've now entered the cycle of change again, bang.
Right.
But because of internal impact. Here we go again, here we go again. And I can go into a company, I have gone into companies, and within a matter of an hour or so, can determine that this company as a whole is unwell. Is that it reeks of insecurity, it reeks of anger and frustration. We've all heard that somewhere between 20 and 30% of today's employees are engaged.
So that's
I
a
don't mean
low
that,
number.
not to each other, but engaged in their work.
Right.
Okay, that's a productivity is in trouble at that point.
Right.
So what's happened is that management, leadership, they're not communication, cooperation, understanding, the support elements of trust are either broken or something's happened dramatically to that.
Right.
And some people have actually left their job, but they're still there physically. Okay, they show up, put in their time, it's gone. So that pretty much covers that entire cycle. And I'd spend an awful long time on the unwell side because that's where everything starts.
Right.
Okay? And it's okay to you're going to feel bad. Back to the feeling side. Back to the cycle of change. You're going to feel different. It could be good. Remember, there's 4 feelings: mad, sad, glad, and hurt. And that working with your friends, having someone you can be honest and talk with, communicate, cooperate, understanding, help get you on that bridge over to the wellness side and begin your own experience of adding wellness to your entire cycle of life. Okay?
Right.
Now, I'll remind you that this can happen in one area of your life or all 7 areas of your life at the same time.
Right.
Because they are connected.
Right.
And it gets pretty damaging and pretty crazy. And we all know those people who have hit bottom, that their personal life, their family life, their social life, their career life, their financial life is just
Cratering.
it's a long way up to the bottom. That's what I used to say.
Right. Right.
That's from a Lou Rawls song back in the 60s. Great song.
Yeah, this is a really interesting concept. It's been helpful to me personally, and it is one of the more difficult things to understand in the book,
Yeah.
but I think it's worth taking the time, maybe read through the text and watch this video a couple times, and I think it's really helpful.
On a personal basis, Matthew, you know that my first wife passed away from malignant brain tumor years ago, and I went through that. I was extraordinarily angry. The insurance company dropped us from the entire group. The entire group was dropped the first 3 months of her illness. She had a malignant glioma multiforme, which is 100% deadly, and that the average life expectancy is 2.5 years. But the first 3 months, the insurance dropped us, so the next 2.5 years or so was out of pocket.
Wow.
So my financials were just destroyed. My best friend was dying. I was becoming a single parent. My business partner and I, because of his spouse, we had to separate our businesses. So my career was just in flux as well. So every area of my life was under attack, and I was spinning around. I guarantee you that, I know that people said that I said and did certain things during that time, and I don't remember saying it. There's so much stress associated with that. It's been years now since she's been gone. I've gone on and new life, new partners, and I still remember it back to the pain situation. It was awful. Life goes on. I had people there though that helped me get on the bridges to get across that chasm over to a sense of wellness and well-being.
Right.
So I'm a living proof that you can get blasted in literally every area of your life. It took me 2 years after she died to financially recover from all the bills that we had.
Wow.
And I was still broke at the time, after 2 years, but still, that was a side event that occurred at that point.
Yeah, it's really tough.
So,
What you said makes clear that the cycle of wellness, you have one key event that can impact all 7 areas of your life.
It took everything out.
And you can have different amounts of wellness based on that. Someone who was really rich who had been in your situation might have recovered more easily on the financial side, and so on. So the cycle of wellness is a very important concept. If we look at so we go from a very complicated concept and diagram to a very simple workbook section, and you have now taken a look at your 7 areas of life, rating for each, your current level of pleasure and satisfaction, and the amount of change you've experienced the past 6 months. You've learned a little bit more about wellness. Now please take a look at each of your 7 areas of life and write down how you could improve wellness in each. Keep in mind that improving wellness doesn't just mean eliminating pain and dissatisfaction, it can also mean improving pleasure and satisfaction. So we just go through the 7 areas of life, my ideas for improving wellness, and this gets into goal setting. But people can kind of sketch out some basics. And even though it's really simple and it's just some blanks to write in what's going on in your life, this can be a real powerful exercise for people to get a handle on what they're doing.
You know, one of the things I think we have left out here is that as you go down through and identify where you are in your wellness, identify people that you can,
that's a good point.
You can reach out to, or who have been reaching out to you, that you'll accept their help, their support, their communication, cooperation, understanding. Identify as many people as possible. Who would you share this information with, and they would not be judgmental, but would also be very helpful in helping you getting through that. So
Second edition.
Identify a wellness partner.
Yeah, very good idea. So give it a shot, try and fill that out. I think you'll find it a valuable exercise.
There'll be a test later. It's called Life.
Yeah. That concludes our videos for Chapter 7. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, please subscribe to JP's channel and like the video. Thank you very much for watching.
That's part 1 of our book. Thank you.